Yeah, bye. All right, XOXO. Got a girl. Audra at Home is filmed in front of a live Pitbull audience. Good morrow and merry meet. My name is Audra and you are in for a treat. All right, today what we're gonna be doing is a little while back I asked y'all some questions. We're gonna be doing a Q&A, obviously, and I'm just gonna answer them. I did film this previously, but I felt like I wasn't able to answer them because I thought I would be like trying to do it in a get ready with me fashion, and it just really didn't work out for me that way because it just didn't. I have to like focus far more than I ever used to because of work and all of that stuff. I feel like sometimes it's hard. So anyways, without further ado,
too late.
Here we go. I'm going to answer your questions. Now, what I did was I actually went through and I hearted the comments. I think I have enough to where I can answer all of them, and hopefully this video will only be like 30 minutes long. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and start at the very, very bottom because then that way I don't lose where I am, and your questions will be popping up on the screen as I ask them. So then that way you're getting the recognition and you see that I did, in fact, see your question. All right, so starting off, if you could quit your job and make a comfortable living off YouTube, would you? I know that a lot of other creators would tell you like, oh, no way, YouTube is way too like inflexible. I would. I think because I also like to do Twitch as well, and I have a good time doing that. I have a Patreon with wonderful Patreon members or patron members. And all of you who are channel members, make it so wonderful. You've been making my Saturdays such a good time, even though I sometimes fall asleep on movie night. But you've been making it so wonderful. But it's also really good for my mental health and for my neurodivergency to just like not have to be around people a lot. That is one thing that does make it difficult. I've always, like, as soon as you could order from the internet, like I order stuff from the internet all the time, but I feel like I used to venture out a little bit more before I started working, and now that I work, I can't be bothered. Not even, like, and my job doesn't even require me to be outside a lot or be around a lot of people a lot, but I'm around a lot of noise, and that in and of itself just, and also just like mental health wise, and when I'm on my period, it's just nice to be able to cocoon and snuggle with Beau, and Beau is the biggest thing. I want to get Beau a companion, but I really don't want to do it while I'm working. Also, I need to move. And so if I was able to make a comfortable living off of YouTube, I would be able to spend significantly more time with my dog and, most importantly, my mom. So I would also be able to spend significantly more time with my mom. In fact, I really miss all the times that I got to spend with my mom. I'm very lucky that I got to have that time, got to have a year and a half of just like spending time with my mom, but I do miss that a lot. So long answer, short answer, yes, I would. Next question, have you prepped for the next polar vortex? Sort of. Yes, in some ways I have, because I do not want to be caught with my pants down. I've already like ordered batteries. There's things that I'm picking up so that like next time around I'll be all right, and I won't be as panicky and stressed out about it. But yes, I am preparing for that. I am not looking forward to it, but I am prepared. In one of your videos, you mentioned you weren't a feminist. Could you expand on that? I have never liked the concept of feminism because I think everyone should be treated with respect and dignity. So here's the thing. I am not a feminist. I am a womanist. And the reason that I am a womanist and not a feminist is because feminism does not include Black women or Black people and people of color. It just doesn't. Traditionally and historically, feminism has only included white women, and at the very earliest opportunity that they could abandon people of color, they did. So I am not a feminist in that regard. I do believe that people should be treated equally. I don't think that we're there yet. Women still continuously get paid less. Women are still vilified on this platform whenever they make a fuck up, whereas men can make the exact same fuck up and still keep everything pushing, keep everything moving. People are still gonna buy from them. And not to say like, oh, you know, fuck men, but like also fuck men. But like, but no, in all seriousness, women can't make mistakes. Women have to be perfect. And until that changes, then I will continue to be a womanist. How are you liking going back to work outside the home? Are people in your industry being responsive to everyone's needs? I do like working outside the home to a degree because it does give me like a place to go. It gives me something to do on the daily. Like, not like I didn't have things to do when I was like unemployed. Fun fact, I worked virtually every day back in the day. I did. Even when I wasn't like at an out of home like job, when I was just doing YouTube and Twitch full time, I worked every day. I do like going outside the home because it does kind of like get me to like get outside a little bit. And yeah, my employer is really responsive to everyone's needs for the most part. It's, you know, I enjoy it. So I enjoy it for the most part. Like, I like the money aspect of it. That part's nice. So this one has a lot of questions. I'm gonna answer a few of them. A friend is coming to Dallas for a weekend and asks you for advice, what to do, where to dine, etc. What's the itinerary? Listen, I have no idea. I don't go nowhere. I'd be like, stay inside your hotel and order Uber Eats. Watch TV. Stream some good shit. Watch me on YouTube. No, but I guess like go to Deep Ellum, even though Deep Ellum has changed a bit. It's gotten more like commercial, but yeah, go to Deep Ellum. There's a few places, a few things, I guess. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. I should have answered that, but here we are. Advice for those who want to start a YouTube channel but feel camera shy. So get used to talking to yourself into the camera quite a bit. In fact, if you talk to yourself, just like I do, I talk to myself all day, every day. It's a thing. But realistically speaking, get used to that feeling of just talking to no one. I guarantee you that my next door neighbor can probably hear me from occasion. That's what I'm looking for. And they're probably like, who in the hell is she talking to? Who are they talking to? I'm talking to you. all, but mostly myself. Get used to talking to yourself. And then here's the other thing about being camera shy. You don't have to, like, I don't necessarily love always looking into the lens. Some days I can and it's not a problem. Other days I have more difficulties and I look down and around. You don't have to stare directly into the camera the whole time. I know that there's people who feel awkward if they're watching a video and you're not looking right at them, but like that's a them problem, not a you problem. If you don't like to stare into the camera, don't. Find other things to look at, and you can also like put things kind of within the realm, like behind, that you can look at, like a picture or even a television if you want to like have something to look at and look like you're looking at the camera. But just jump in. It's not as bad as you think it is. It could be worse. It could be significantly worse. As someone who was born and raised here, moved away, returned again, possibly intends to leave again, I must ask, when you move, what, if anything, will you miss about Texas? The queue. I'm gonna miss the ribs. I like Texas ribs, so good, so good. I love the barbecue. I like the Tex-Mex. I can't really say the people, because I could do without them. The food. It's the food. Of course I'm gonna say food, tourist shit. On to the next question from the next person who asked a question previously, but I'm going to answer this one as well. Also, what's some content you would want to post if views and algorithm didn't matter, i.e. horror movie reviews, cooking with Paul Giamatti? I definitely want to do another video with Paul Giamatti, actually. If I could get this kitchen area cleaned up again, I'd love to do another collaboration with him, because it's so much fun for me to like kind of like do my little cookie thing, and I like to cook the way that I like to cook. And for all my neurodivergent fans and subscribers out there, I like to be able to like cater to us and the way that we make food. But here's the thing. I make whatever the hell I want already, and part of that is because I'm a Black creator, and as a Black creator, I'm fully aware that the algorithm is not really pushing me in any good direction, so I just do what the hell I want anyway. I just don't care. I used to try so hard to like make the perfect video, create the perfect content, and hope that like that would somehow catch fire and people would be interested in watching my channel. But my reality is that like I'm a dark-skinned Black creator, and YouTube just isn't gonna push that. So I am blessed in that way. Like I do have, that is a bit of a blessing for me, that I don't I can do whatever the hell I want to. And that's where my catchphrase at the end goes. I guess it's a catchphrase, I don't know. But where I say that at the end is like the algorithm will keep pushing me further down so I can keep doing whatever I want. I fucking mean that. Like, it's gonna keep pushing me down. It doesn't matter. You could give it 10,000 thumbs up and I'm still not going to hit a trending page. I'm still not gonna be pushed to a wider audience. And that's why I just make whatever the fuck I want to. All right. This next question said, some good questions. I have a question. Did you keep up with the creative writing into college? So here's a fun fact. I am a huge hockey fan, but mostly now it's for like old school hockey that I grew up with. It's harder for me to enjoy it now. I still watch a game from time to time, but I don't have like, it's ADHD, honestly. I had an ADHD intensity with watching hockey when I was younger, and I wanted to actually write for professional, like write for the NHL and do that. I wanted to be like black female Barry Melrose. You'll have to look up who Barry Melrose is, but I wanted to be that. Instead I wrote for tennis in college at USC, and one of the best articles that I wrote that never got edited or anything, I wrote when I was absolutely high. There was a lot of going on. So I did, I did do that. But I did not keep up with my creative writing because I was like very intent on trying to become a sports writer. I actually worked for a now defunct company called Broadband Sports. Like, I was really into it, but it didn't work out. So, you know, 'tis what it is. Next question, how do you make the leap into YouTube beauty? What are some things you wish you'd known then that you know now? How much of an initial investment does a YouTuber truly need to make to get started? So I made the leap into YouTube beauty because I finally got tired of trying to pretend I didn't want to do beauty. I started in beauty. I started doing skincare. I had Korean subscription boxes with products. There's still a video up. There's still several videos up. But I like doing that because at the time I was super broke, but getting that particular subscription box yielded a bit of content because I could try a product and then like have a video for that. And at the time I wasn't posting near as often as I do now. So I was able to kind of like milk that one box for at least 4 or 5 videos and because of 4 or 5 different products that I received in the box. If I remember the name of the box, I'll pop it right here. But I wanted to do beauty content for a long time. I just felt like I couldn't do it, and I had issues with access. I was not financially mobile, and so I felt like I could not do beauty content since I couldn't afford makeup and couldn't buy things. Don't let that stop you. That's silly. That was a silly thing for me to do. I moved into subscription boxes because I was like, shit, I'm already using them. At the time I was trying to figure out what size my body was because it was rapidly shrinking at the time. So I did that, and then finally was like, let me just like dip my toes back in to the beauty side of it, because why not, right? And so I did. What are some things you wish you'd known then that you know now? Number one, that everybody's not your friend. That's a really important thing to remember. If you get, like, regardless of what area of YouTube you slide into, remember, everybody's not your friend. You could start YouTube with a bunch of people. They can end up being jealous of you. They can end up being shitty. You could just end up like not having the same values. You can find out that somebody's not who you thought they were. That happens all the time. You can find out that people that you thought were your friends, you talked to for a long time, really aren't there for you the way that they need to be, or that you thought that they should be, and probably really weren't your friend in the first place. I think another thing that I wish that I had known is how like just nasty sometimes people can be. Not just other creators, but subscribers as well. How people think it's like perfectly acceptable to say some really fucked up shit to you because like, you don't even know me and you out here saying like rude ass shit. Like, come on now. And finally, that people actually think that constructive criticism is okay to do to a stranger. It's not. It's like, it's not. Like, I know people think that they're being constructive, but it's most of the time it's neither constructive, it's not really, it's mostly just criticism. But also and maybe it's just the way that my mind works, but constructive criticism comes from your friends and people who like, you know, because you can take that as constructive. Otherwise, for me, most of the time it just comes off as criticism, whether people meant it that way or not. But that's some stuff I wish I'd known. I wish I'd known that. How much of an initial investment? So don't make mistakes like I did. I bought like a camera that I couldn't even actually use initially when I started. I was able to use it for my fashion content. But what I would say is if you get started in YouTube, right, and you're just trying to like get started, I would get started with whatever you have on hand first. I know that there are people out there who will be like, oh, you just leap in, buy the camera, do this, da 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 da, and that worked for them. But here's what I'm gonna say: a lot of us think that we're going to enjoy doing this. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of dead channels as we speak, right? They thought they were going to enjoy this, and for one reason or another, they discovered they didn't. Like, especially when I was coming up, or not even coming up, I didn't even come up, but but when I first started, a lot of people were moving from Instagram to YouTube, right? Because it was more lucrative. Over here, it was a lot harder on Instagram to monetize your content, XXX. So here on YouTube, they would come over and realize that it's a lot different to create like a full-fledged, even if it was a 15-minute video, it was a lot different to create a 15-minute video and have your whole personality out for the world to see than it was to create stills or like quick little videos in your YouTube story, or excuse me, in your Instagram story. Figure out if you like it first. I would not invest in having a bomb ass camera. In fact, I'm actually saving up right now to buy a better camera. I know I just got this camera, but I'd kind of like to use this camera for a few other things. And I'd like to see if I could get like, maybe I'm just gonna get a better lens. You know what, listen, I just be making grandiose plans for no reason. But I wouldn't have started out with this camera because I think that if I had done that and I had not been enjoying it, or I hadn't hit any level of like monetization, I would be very upset. I would be very upset because let me just tell you, it takes a long time to get monetized, and you have to think if you're at this for 2, 3, 4 years before you even hit monetization, you're putting in money that you're definitely not getting back anytime soon. So just first figure out if you like it. If you have a phone, use your phone. There's Audacity, which is free to use if you want to like fix your sound. I never fix my sound, y'all can tell. I don't have the energy for that. I'm sorry. You're gonna have to hear the cars and the squeaks and all the shit in the background because I can't be bothered. I can't do it. If I had to do that too, I would never edit shit. I'll just be honest. I tried it like 2 times and I was like, I can't. I hate it. But but yeah, I wouldn't recommend. My personal opinion is that I don't think you should put a shit ton of money into this, because if you don't like it, then you've put all this money into something that you don't enjoy. And yeah, maybe you have a badass camera, but are you gonna do other things with it? Like anything that you put into the investment, your initial investment, it's gotta be stuff that like you already enjoy or you have another use for. My opinion. I didn't invest a ton. The biggest things that I invested in were editing software, which I use Wondershare Filmora, and Canva for thumbnails. And currently my favorite investment is Soundstripe, which I'm able to use copyright-free music, and it's a super cool fucking site because you also get like a little code and you can drop your code and the code stops YouTube from copyright striking, which is amazing because there are also like a lot of like weird little things that the people who, some artists will take like pieces of the free music and put it into a song so they can copyright strike you and snatch your money. But baby, I don't play that way, so I just like private those videos. We ain't playing. I'm not playing like that. I don't care. We're not gonna play that game today or tomorrow. Those are my opinions. So yeah, the biggest things that I invested in were just like making sure that I could edit my content, and I feel like that was a good investment. Okay, next question. Do you also speak Japanese or any other language? Do you keep in touch with friends you made while living abroad? Why, how did your family relocate to Texas, and why do you guys remain there? So I can't speak much Japanese, but I can do this. Atamakasta hisapon, 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 atamakata hisapon, me, mimi, hana, kuchi, shh. I think it's me, mimi, hana, kuchi, shh. There we go. So I can sing head, shoulders, knees, and toes in Japanese. So that's, I win, right? Do I win? I feel so stupid. I'm like, do I win? And I do not keep in touch with friends. Most of my friends that I met there, I was so young, and like this was the 80s and the early 90s when internet just really wasn't what it is today, and most of their last names, I was a child, I don't remember them, so like, no, that's unfortunate. I wish again, sometimes I'm like, oh, I wish I was born in like 94, because then like shit would be different. Shit would be different. So I live, because my mom was relocated here to Texas because she's in the military. And then I went, I left and I went to California. My mom stayed here. And then things were not really working out for me in LA. I stopped going to school for financial reasons, and then for I just didn't want to go back reasons. And just as I was supposed to get a job, I got into a car accident and could not start said job. And my mother, of sound mind and body, and was actually correct, was like, you're not gonna hang out in California and have a good time on my dime. Come home. And I'm like, okay. And why do I stay here? Because moving is ruinously expensive. Ruinously expensive. You have to find a job, you have to do all these things. Like, there's so much that you have to do to just be able to move, and a lot of companies don't offer relocation assistance. So there's really, I'm not gonna do all that. I'm not. If I leave, it's to leave for good. No, I should have said when I leave. When I leave, it's for good. I'm never coming back. Would love to hear more about your dog. How old, what breed, how you got them, funny story. So Beau Bear is a shelter dog. I rescued him from a shelter, and I knew from the jump that I was going to get a pit mix, because I felt kindred spirits with pit bulls, in that a lot of people think that they're one way. They think that they're mean, nasty, aggressive, horrible, but really they're just sweet softies who want to cuddle and snuggle and be as close to you as it's humanly possible, which is one of the reasons why when I'm filming, he plays with his toys and makes a lot of noise, because he wants me to be with him and he wants to be near me. And if he can't do that, then he's going to irritate me the whole way through. But I was not expecting to get Beau. So obviously Pit. One of the big reasons I was trying to get a dog was because I was going to stop taking an anti-anxiety medication, and I knew that it was going to be bad and that I was going to need something to help me with my anxiety. And previously I'd had dogs and I was like, that was always really good. Like my old dog Sasha, who's since passed, she was really good about recognizing when I felt my anxiety getting high, and so she would kind of like lay near me and things like that. So I was like, I'll just try that with a dog and get an ESA. Not certified as an ESA, but he is an emotional support animal, and I have him registered as such. And Beau was there. I hadn't even planned on looking at him, but he looked at me through that plexiglass, and I looked at him through that plexiglass, and I just knew I was taking him home. And I met him. I took him into like the little meeting room, and as good shelters do, you're only allowed to meet, I believe, with 3 animals at the time that you go, because it's bad for the animals to basically have people who just want to come and pet dogs, and then they have no plans to adopt. It's bad for them to have that kind of interaction and feel like they're going to go home and then they don't have a home. But Beau had a family before, and so when I first got him, with pit bulls, this happens quite often, that people get them for status symbols. You look cool as shit with a pit bull, like all of that. Like, you look amazing, look at your pit bull puppy. But not only are they high energy dogs, they're also very latchkey. They want to be right next to and near and dear to their family. They're not the kind of dogs for most people that you just like stick out in the yard, which I don't agree with, period. But they want to be by you. And I think a lot of people don't expect that when they get a pit bull. They don't expect that the dog is going to want to spend every fucking moment possible with them. And it becomes a lot. And they're very high energy. They want to play. They want to go outside. They want to snuggle up to you. They do not like being left by themselves. And with all of that being said, I think that this family was just overwhelmed by having a pit bull, which is one of the reasons why I will always stand up and say, like, please do not buy your children or rescue animals for your children. To teach them responsibility. That's not how you should do that. I know I don't have kids, but I'm gonna tell you, please stop doing that, because you're gonna end up taking care of them, and if you don't want to, they're going back to the pound, which is really shitty. So anyways, I got him. He had a lot of anxiety. Originally, he used to chew his tail. He now no longer chews his tail at all. When I first got him, I'd come home and like he would wag his tail, there'd be blood, and I'd just be like, oh my God, please don't. And I'd like hug him and love him. He doesn't have a lot of rules. He's not super well trained. Like, for the most part, our training is like mutual, but I'm a witchy person, so I don't really believe in having a dog or owning a dog. Like, we are each other's companions. So yeah, he's the light of my life. He is so hilarious. The funniest thing that he does is he herds me to bed, and he will also herd me to shower. So if I've taken too long and he's like, hey, it's time for you to get in the shower. Getting close to bedtime, get in the shower. He'll like keep walking back and forth to the bathroom. And then when it's time for bed, he'll walk back and forth to the bedroom like, are you coming? It's time to get into the bed. So he's hilarious. He's a hoot and a half. And I think I have a story somewhere. Like, I mean, I just told you the story. So yeah, he's the light of my life. Like, I will always have dogs. Like, he's amazing. So the next question is, if you're out of the broom closet, how long have you been practicing for? And what do you feel is your magical forte? I'm a healer, blessed be. So yes, I am out of the broom closet. I would say that I've unofficially been practicing like the majority of my life. I would call myself more of a natural witch. So I feel like I have two pretty deep affinities. One of them is premonition, and the other is with animals and creatures. I have a fairly deep affinity with them. I remember at my old job that I hated with every ounce of my being, there was this spider, and people were freaking out, and I was like, don't kill it. And I kind of went over to it and I was like, hey, I need you to jump on this paper. And it did. And everybody was like looking at me. And I've done this at 2 different jobs. And both times everybody just goes like, and I'm like, so I just have this affinity with animals. I've always been able to do that in creatures, and my premonitions are fairly intense. I'll tell you this, hopefully I have enough battery to tell you this story. So when I was in college, I had this group of friends that I used to hang out with. We all went to raves together, all this good shit. And of course, summer vacation comes and we, have to go to our separate homes, whatnot. It's freshman year. And we're gonna go into sophomore year. So during the summer, one of my friends, we'll call her Jane, why not? She was an artist, and she sends me this piece of art that she did for me, and I was like, sweet, awesome. So we move all back in together because for sophomore year, we moved into the same house. We rented a house together, and we're staying in the same house because at USC, guaranteed freshman housing, not guaranteed sophomore. So to avoid being stressed about having housing, we just rented a house together. It was not a nice house. Anywhoozits. Within a week or so of being there, I had this dream that there was a giant earthquake. I'm in Los Angeles. And at the time, prior to having the dream, I had taken the piece of art that she gave me, framed it, and put it above my bed. In my dream, the earthquake happens, and the painting jars shut, like jars off from the wall, and a shard of glass stabs me in my neck. And I cannot call for help and get rescued, and I'm just like gurgling blood the whole time. This is a graphic story. And then I wake up and I'm like, and I tell my friend the story, and she was like, well, I hope that doesn't mean we're not gonna be friends. And I was like, because here's the thing, I don't have dreams. The only dreams that I have that I remember are true dreams. And I didn't recognize that when I was younger, but now, like ever since that happened, I really started to pay more attention to it. Within about 2 weeks, we were no longer friends. We did not speak, we did not hang out, we were no longer friends. And it's funny that we did not speak. So yeah. All right, next up. Do you feel comfortable sharing what industry you work in? And if not, do you ever plan to move out of Texas? Where would you most like to live? So I don't share where I work or what industry I'm in until I'm like no longer in it. And it's just really because, one, people are weird on the internet, people are weird. And it's also because, I share work stories from time to time or talk about people. And like, I just don't really like that. I don't want them finding my channel. Like, I try not to really tell people for the most part that I do this, not because I'm embarrassed about it, but because I'm normally talking shit about how much I don't like them. So, and but no, I just don't. I think people are really weird on the internet, not like you are, but people in general can be really, really weird and strange. So I just find it better just to like not talk about it until I don't do it. Like, I'll talk about Chewy because I used to work there, and I could talk about Amazon because I used to work there, but if I currently work there, I wouldn't talk about it. If not, do you ever plan to move out of Texas? Yeah, I do. I plan to move out. My hope is that I will be able to amass enough funds to be able to work from my home and then be able to escape. Where would I like to go? I'm not sure. I I don't want to be anywhere that's too hot or too cold. I'd like to visit Italy. I want to visit Spain. I think maybe Scotland or Ireland is maybe where I'd end up landing. Not Australia, because I think Australia and New Zealand I can't go to because I can't take Beau. They don't allow pit bulls. So yeah, I've thought about it. Thank you. All right, we've hit the very last question, which is good because I don't have a shit ton of battery. And the question is, how many hours a week do you spend working on your YouTube channel? What advice would you have for someone growing a tiny under 100 subs channel? So first, I'm just gonna take you through an average day for me. So normally I wake up around 4:45 to 5:20 a.m. I take Beau out and then I come back in, and depending on where I am usually going to be answering comments from a previous video or spending about 30 minutes editing a video. From there I go to work, and depending on when I get off, I tend to come home, finish editing the video, and in between the editing I also answer comments. Some days I'm able to come home and film 1 to 3 videos, which can take 3 hours if I'm doing 3 videos. But I tend to try to film in bulk because I don't have a shit ton of time and I never know how my work schedule is going to work out. So knowing that, I know that I have to have content pre-filmed so that at least I can edit it and put it up. From there, I just, take a shower and go to bed, and I do it all over again the next day. I tend to be doing like editing and comment answering every single day. I try to, even if I can't necessarily answer the comments, I at least heart them and acknowledge that I saw your comment, because like I did see them. I try to read every single comment that I possibly can. Not just because like, oh, I care, and like, dude, it's more because like y'all like make my day. There are days where I'm having, just like not the best time, or I'm stressing out, or I'm like, fuck it, fuck this YouTube thing. Just let it go. You're just gonna like, work at your job and make your money, and who cares, like quit doing it. But anytime I have that feeling or that sensation, I get to read y'all's comments and I'm like, never mind, I'm having a good time. I was just having a bad day. So it's a lot of hours. And the thing is, in between doing all that YouTube stuff, I'm also streaming on Twitch. I also, do my Instagram posts. So there's a lot that's involved in it. My advice for under 100 subs or whatever is just like, get comfortable with yourself, get comfortable with enjoying filming, figure out what you enjoy doing and how you like to do it. And once you have that comfort level, everything else starts to come along. Like your editing skills will come along with once you know how you like what style that you film in, right? Because I can edit to me. I know how I am. I know the expressions that I make. I know the pauses that I sometimes make. I don't make a lot of them. I know that every time I'm gonna talk, I go like a freaking weirdo. I take this giant breath and then I just apparently don't breathe again. But I know all of these things about myself, and so it's easier to edit. Just get really comfortable. Like that's the biggest thing that I would say. The mistake that a lot of people make is they're trying to like figure out the best possible content that they can film, but they never get comfortable filming. They never get comfortable being on camera, and you have to get comfortable with that, because the more comfortable you are, the more people can tell that you're comfortable, and the more that it feels like you're just relaxing and chilling with like somebody you just met at a bar, that like friendly bar energy. That's like the only thing I can think of. But also don't get discouraged by like not seeing a lot of growth. I've been doing this since 2016 and I just now hit 10K. And I really don't expect to hit 20 or 30K. I honestly feel like my max out point is probably gonna be around 15K, and like that's where I'm gonna max out. The chances of me doing this as a job are fairly slim. Like I'm just doing this because I enjoy it. Like obviously the monetization part allows me to continue to do it at the level that I'm doing it at, but I don't really expect like a shit ton of success. I just kind of stay in my lane and do what the hell I want. But yeah, don't expect like a shit ton of growth. And then if you do experience a lot of growth, don't let it like completely get to your head to where you're an asshole. But yeah, more than anything else, just like get super comfortable with yourself and with talking to yourself, because if you can't do that, this isn't for you. This isn't for you. And also, I will say this as a side note, get used to like a bit of loneliness. There is a lot of loneliness involved in doing YouTube, because even if you have a partner, you have roommates, you have friends that live with you, like whatever it is, you're gonna be spending an inordinate amount of time by yourself. Like you film alone, you're more than likely gonna wanna like edit alone because you have to be able to hear what's going on. You have to be able to pay attention to it. There's a lot of this that you're gonna be doing solo style. I mean, that's the reality. Even if you have a partner who takes pictures and maybe does this and that, there's a lot of alone time, and for some people that can get lonely. And finally, I forgot this, the most important thing. Make YouTube friends. It's really important to have YouTube friends. And I mean real YouTube friends, not just like people you collab with or whatever from time to time, like real YouTube friends, because YouTube friends are going to understand what you are talking about and what you are going through. There's just not another job where people can understand what you go through doing YouTube. Like me having friends like Teresa and Emily, and when I get to talk to her, or talk to them, Kelsey and Alicia, being able to talk to James, like having these conversations with my YouTube friends about things that only YouTube people would understand, talking about analytics, talking about engagement, talking about how annoying it is that YouTube views are down, like discussing the conspiracies that we have as to why it's like that. Like that shit you're just not gonna be able to talk about with Jan in accounting. You're just not, you know what I mean? Like you can, but Jan's gonna look at you like, the fuck are you talking about? You're like, Jan, never mind, girl, go back to accounting, go sit down. So yeah, I mean, definitely have YouTube friends, because like, especially things like having a full-time job and doing YouTube, like only other YouTube people understand how much work that it actually takes to do both of these things. I feel like a lot of people see it and think it's like effortless. Like no, a lot of it is just like waking up at odd hours to do this, going to bed at weird shitty hours, and just like, oh, there's a lot of exhaustion. So like, yeah, it's just getting those YouTube friends is paramount, and was paramount to my success, because I feel like one of the reasons that I was able to really keep pushing forward is because I started making YouTube friends. And once I started making YouTube friends, I had other people who understood, and we could just like chat and bounce ideas off of one another. And the thing is, I have true YouTube friends. So like, because we're all actually friends, nobody's stealing other people's ideas and taking it as their own. That's why I say find real YouTube friends. But yeah, I feel like that was a lot of advice that you didn't really ask for, but you did, but not like to that extent. And that's it. Thank y'all so much for like throwing your questions in. I love doing these Q&As. I'm trying to do it like every other month-ish so that we can just kind of hang out, and I like being able to do this. I'd love to be able to do it more in live stream format. Currently, I cannot. Like if I live stream, I have to choose between like playing my game on Twitch and doing my Dexter content on Twitch, or like doing it on YouTube. So like I just end up like, I want to play games. I want to play video games. I'm playing a really good one right now. It's House of Ashes, the Dark Anthology, and I'm having such a good time. All right, that's it. That's the video. I appreciate all of y'all who sent in your questions. I'm glad I was able to answer them. I hope I was able to answer them satisfactorily. If you enjoyed this video, please do a flavor and give this video a big thumbs up, so then that way the algorithm goddess can keep doing what she does best, which is push me further down into the algorithm so that I can continue to do whatever the fuck I want. And as usual, huge shout out to my patrons and spooky bays, yeah. All right, without y'all, I truly would not be able to keep the bats and the belfry and the spiders firmly ensconced in their web. So I appreciate y'all for that. And for all of you who watch, like, share, and subscribe, I appreciate you as well. Remember, it costs $0 to be kind. It's so good for your soul. And honestly, this is the third video in a row that I have filmed. I will definitely snatch yours because I'm losing my voice and I'm tired. But I got time for that. Until next time, XOXO. Gothic girl are in for a treat. Oh gosh, that was a burp. Oh my God, I'm running out of battery. And as usual, wait, no. Let's start over. Much time before this battery is like, bitch, that is enough. Oh, there's another one. Coffee. That I forgot. Oh, gross. The coffee looks disgusting now. But my lips, fabulous.